Hello, I am Vedant Yesi. Today I'm on my bed. Let's see. Today I wanted to talk about my personality, and struggles with empathy. But before I get into that, I wanted to say two things mainly. One, I fixed my watch. This armband had a broken pin, and so I got a replacement one, and I fiddled around with it, and I got to work, and now it is looking pretty neat. There you go with the lighting and everything. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's a Casio F105W. It's really cool in my opinion. My parents got it for me for my birthday. Yeah. And then second thing, I finished Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. I figured out why people like Ernest Hemingway. I know yesterday I said it was boring, and to be honest, majority of the events of the book were boring, up until around chapter 10, I want to say, or 9. It was a very, very slow-paced book. A lot of the times it was just characters moving from one cafe to another, and I said this in my previous video that was 40 minutes long. I want to keep this one short. I understand why his writing is so well renowned. It's because he was writing a tragedy, and that tragedy had a huge setup for maybe 2 chapters worth of actual action and resolution. Wherein in most stories there's a very normal hero's journey. In this one, his hero's journey was climbing up the mountain the whole time. Hit a little climax around, I want to say chapter 17. And then where one detail about one of the characters, the Jewish character, Robert Cohn, it comes in very useful, and that causes Cohn to leave Spain, which I think is very, very cool. The way he portrayed it and the way he foreshadowed it, I did not see it coming whatsoever. So definitely, if you're reading it, or if you have read it, you know what I mean. And it's really neat, and I recommend it. Hopefully I'm going to be editing this video, and that's the plan, that's the goal. Besides that, I finished it. The resolution was really neat. I figured out a bunch of details through just looking online that I didn't understand previously. I didn't understand, and this becomes pretty apparent, that the main character, Jake Barnes, isn't just suffering through PTSD and suffering through that part of the war, which is affecting his romantic and relationship life. It's also affecting him physically, and that becomes apparent by another character, Bill, in the book. He mentions it, and he's like, come on, get mad at me about it, trying to rile him up or cause a row, which is verbiage from the timing when this is taking place in I want to say 1923, 1924. And the only reason I know this properly, besides just researching on online, is because Brett Ashley, one of the characters, mentioned something about somebody being born in 1908 and then being, or 1907 maybe, and then being born, or 1905, I remember this, 1905, and them being 19 years old. That's what it is. And I just connected the dots, and it's okay, it's either 1930 and 23 or 24. And I was pretty cool. That was really neat to finally figure out. I was okay, when is this happen? How far after the First World War is this book taking place? Those were the main 2 things. What I really wanted to get about was my personality. I understand that I'm a very social, very talkative person when I want to be. I understand that when I want to, I can be a fun person to be around. But I also feel when I'm not feeling social and when I'm not in a good mood, I'll make it very apparent. And I've had struggles with kind of feeling empathetic towards people because of that. A lot of it is due to my upbringing. Um, I'm not gonna blame my parents about any of it because it's genuinely just actions on my part in terms of like my relationships with my peers, as well as just like my relationship with school and in school relationships, and that's a whole separate thing that I have to work through, and I'm continually working through. But what I do understand is that I've had struggles with empathy, and this has really shown, this has really been shown to me through my friends this semester and last semester. I've developed a really nice group of college friends just through my first year, and they've shown me my flaws, and they've talked to me about it. They've provided me constructive criticism, and I'm not one to like shy away from getting feedback. I understand that some people do, and I've seen that, and I have experienced that personally when I give somebody feedback and then they take that way too personally, think I'm complaining about them to their face, and it's just not a fun situation. I'm not like that, okay? They're still my friends, and I still appreciate them for kind of what they say to me and like how they relay information to me. And it's helped me be better in not just like my physical relationship, or if not physical, in my romantic relationships with other people, but also in terms of like my relationships like professionally in my career. It's helped me understand that, okay, these people definitely don't like it if I make a mistake. And today, like an example of that was one of my coworkers had me do a new task, and she was teaching me that task. She taught me that task yesterday, and I forgot it by today because I only did it like once or twice. She had me do the whole thing, and I made a huge mistake where I didn't save some of the photos. That was the task, some of the photos to a file, and I didn't refresh that to make sure that it actually did save, and those photos did save to those files. And that was an issue that we had to kind of go through, and I felt like more for my coworker, as she had put in all this time and effort to try to teach me, and I still kind of failed her, and I felt bad about it. And I understand that this is pretty normal for other people, but for me, this was kind of like a first time experience. Usually I remember as a kid I used to feel guilty and shameful, and then over time that feeling kind of eroded for me, if you could say that. I know that feeling just like it got smaller and smaller, that shame and guilt from doing something wrong over time. And in ways it helps me, right? In ways as in I'm not afraid to be the wrong person in like a classroom setting, or I'm not afraid to potentially humiliate myself in the face of trying to be correct about things. And I appreciate that part of me, and I'm grateful that I am that way. But I'm also grateful that I've been working on being more sincere with my apologies, and being more sincere in the way that I'm grateful for the people in my life and like the things that they do for me, right? I understand the opportunities that I've been given, and I'm trying every day. I'm trying to be better at it. My friends have been extremely helpful. Kind of reading, again, has been really helpful to me. A lot of these situations and a lot of these conversations that Ernest Hemingway's characters have in The Sun Also Rises, a lot of their situations could be easily avoided if they had proper communication, or if they were able to articulate their emotions a lot better. And like I create these scenarios in my head where I would be like, okay, what if this character said something different, or what would happen if this character were to behave in a different manner in response to this character's words. And that was really cool. That was like, okay, now I'm reflecting on my kind of past experiences. I'm reflecting on what exactly went wrong, what exactly could go right. I'm trying to experiment with that. That's essentially what the video was about. Again, I want to keep this short because I actually want to edit this one. I probably won't edit it. I think I did a pretty good job today. But I want it to not take all night to upload, because it did take all night to upload, and I uploaded it this morning on my other video this morning, and I felt like I was behind schedule, and I want to upload as much as possible, as in every day. I know my friends are probably on call or about to get on call, because we're all like scattered around for the summer. Some of my friends are at home. I'm personally at college right now. Still trying to think about those summer classes. I might just end up taking Math 2 again in the fall semester because I'm not really seeing any classes for community college. I'm gonna have to relay this information to my dad. I don't really mind having to take Math 2 twice because I can just take Math 3 and differential equations, which is what would supposedly occur if I were to take Math 3 like fall semester and then Diff EQ second semester. But I'll just take them both same in my spring semester, and maybe statistics as well if I do get into my major of choice. It's all dependent, but that's the plan so far. Still on that engineering track and still trying to achieve my goals. Speaking of goals, I have been able to articulate what I want in terms of like filming these videos. So the biggest thing is I want to be able to create a community of people who are able to argue and discuss about their feelings, their interests, about things that they believe is right in a respectful manner. On the internet, a lot of things that I've seen like just online on YouTube is that the first thing that comes out of people's mouths is comment sections are a complete cesspool. Like you can't there's a song by The Gentleman, which is Moist Critical's like band or music label or music persona, and one of the songs is literally called Opinions Are Weapons, talking about how the internet has become almost like it has become very hostile, and I want to be able to provide an environment for people where that hostility is not welcome, in a way that people can argue for their opinions and for their choices without having to feel like they could be in an unsafe situation. That's my goal with this YouTube channel, with what I'm filming right now. Hopefully I can kind of grow myself to be better. Currently I'm on my bed. This is my Stitch plushie, and we both say bye.